But I was with a friend, and I remember looking like, wow, she is a Black woman as a judge. Like, that's something I have never even thought was possible for me at all. But you see here, like, I never thought that it wasn't impossible, which goes to show that, like, vision, like, really, like, plays a part, because you never felt like that wasn't a possibility for you.
No, the only I was a little hesitant because I was so young.
Yeah, so that was always your thing. Like, oh, I'm not able, but like, I'm just probably too young.
Okay. Now, how old were you?
I was 31.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Welcome to the Black Boss Ladies platform, a place where women can gain inspiration for their journey to success through the powerful experiences of successful Black businesswomen, past and present. These women are redefining leveling up by creating legacies in their own time. Are you ready to do the same? Join a discussion on the BBL platform, the place where legacies live.
Welcome to the Black Boss Ladies platform. I'm your host today, Tiffany Lee, and my co-host is Julia Myers.
Hello. And today we are interviewing Judge Judge Cason. Yeah, from East St. Louis, Illinois. And she is also our family member. So
our cousin.
We're very proud to have you here today. I just want to jump in and give us a little bit background of how you became a judge, because I'm reading your resume, and you started off in education and finance, right?
Yes. Well, it wasn't your normal trajectory. So I grew up in East St. Louis, educated, graduated from Lincoln Senior High in '88, and then I went on to the University of Illinois. And I thought I wanted to be a biology major, so initially I started off in biology. That's one thing that we want to, make known to, younger generations, that sometimes you just don't know. You don't know. You feel your way. So I thought I wanted to be a doctor because I did very well in biology in high school. But then when I got to college, I realized that it was a different kind of biology. So I just wasn't doing well. So I said, well, let me change and get a major that I thought could be marketable. So I decided on finance.
Okay.
And so by the time I graduated with that degree in '92, I just didn't feel like working.
Okay. You know what? And that is that is valid. Sometimes you work really, really hard in college, and that was like your big job.
And you had to be a great student in high school to make that transition as a biology major. So sometimes you get burnt out, right?
Yeah. So I didn't feel like working. So I said, let me find another major, to get, because I was thinking about law school.
Okay.
And I said, let me find it was a maturity factor too, because I didn't think I was, very mature enough to start law school. So I said, let me get another major. So I spoke with an advisor. She's a Delta. She was our graduate advisor. And she was in the education program. So I spoke with her, and we found a master's program that I could get in a year.
Okay. Oh, really? Great.
And it was in human resource development. So it was in the College of Education, but the major was human resource development. So that kind of, tied me over for another year. So I got that master. So after that, I went on to law school at the University of Tennessee in '93. Yeah.
So do you think, because you used the word, I didn't think I was mature enough. And sometimes as Black women, we have this we have this thing, and we talk about it in a lot of our interviews, that we have this image of what we think somebody's supposed to look like. So during that year, do you look back and say, I probably could have just went to law school? Or like, why didn't you think you were mature enough?
I had a great time in college.
Okay, I feel you.
I had a great time in college. And, my study habits weren't,
So that was just a real self-assessment.
Yeah. It was,
Okay.
So, I said, let me get in this master's program, because when you go to law school straight from college, I mean, you really have to be prepared, because this is your career. This is, this is something that you're a grown woman, practically. And so I was like, let me find another degree. And so during that year, it did allow me to mature a little bit.
So it was needed.
Yeah.
That's some, like I said, some real great self-assessment, because I don't know about you, but like when you said you had a good time, like my undergrad, I had a good time too. I wasn't ready. And after undergrad, I remember coming here living with my auntie for like a couple months. And I got in the car and I went to Texas. And when somebody just the other night asked me how was Texas, and I said I felt like I wasn't ready for Texas yet. Like it was like a college hangover in a sense.
What part of Texas?
Dallas, because we have family out there. My Uncle Michael and them. So it was an easy transition. But when I look back, I wasn't mature enough yet either. I didn't even understand, because I look at Texas now and what I'm doing. I was like, oh man, I could explode, but I wasn't there yet. So I understand what you said with that. So you finish up your master's degree and you go to law school.
Yes, I went to the University of Tennessee. They didn't have, at the time, they were kind of recruiting minority students, because the law school wasn't very diverse. Okay. So they offered a full scholarship.
Okay, wow, nice.
Because it was either there or St. Louis U. Okay. And I was like, oh, that's just too close to home.
Yeah, you get stuck in your old habits.
Yeah, you get stuck in your old habits. But I did prepare for the bar. I did, prior to me taking the bar, I took a course at WashU and stayed in St. Louis, and that kind of helped a little bit too. So then I did that, and went on to the University of Tennessee in '93.
And you get there, you get there, and they don't have a lot of diversity.
No, they
Tell us about in the South, right?
Right, it's in the South, in Knoxville. So Knoxville it was challenging. It was challenging. I won't say it wasn't. And just being away from, I couldn't just hop in my car and go home, because it was like maybe about 5.5, 6 hours away. So it was challenging, but I got a great education there.
Okay.
I did. I got a great education there. But just the environment, Knoxville isn't, the minority population isn't that high. And so there were a couple of people that didn't make it.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I do wonder about that, because they said in law school it's a lot of reading, just a lot of reading, and then from my understanding, I haven't been to law school, of course, but from my understanding, it's easier if you form a cohort to study with. So how were you able to form a cohort to study with? Or
I mean, there was a lot of different study groups.
Okay. Yes.
To tell you the truth, I really didn't partake that much. Now, there was a couple of people, that we spoke, about different subjects with, but I wasn't in like a formal study group. But you have to. It's a lot of outlining. They call it outlining. So, you read a case and write down the issue, the rule, and analysis, and the conclusion. So it's a lot of outlining on all of that to prepare you for it. It's just one test a semester, so it's not like quizzes or anything. So you go and get lectured. One test a semester,
and that's dictating if you pass or fail that class.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of heavy.
Yeah, because tell us how law school is set up, because it's like you guys are in, I forgot, it's a numerical thing, right?
It was 1L, 2L, 3.
Yeah, 1L, 2L, 3L. So this is like first year law, second year law, third year law. But you have to pass. So it's not like normal college classes where it's like, okay, well, I didn't pass this, but I'll go on to my second semester of college. It's not like that. If you don't pass this test.
No, if you don't pass the test, you gonna be on probation.
Wow, that's a lot leaning on one test. When you say it was difficult, are we talking about inside the classroom, outside the classroom? Like what was difficult about it?
Well, the first thing that was, I won't say difficult, challenging, was just me being in Knoxville.
Okay.
Not knowing anybody, so and it wasn't a big black population.
Yeah.
The second thing is, whereas in college you can, sometimes wing things and get your study group together and pass your test. In law school, I mean, you have to be in a class. It's really not, any skipping class. If you skip in class, you missing a lot.
Yeah, you got to anticipate stuff.
And you have to outline cases all the time to keep up with, the rules and the analysis. So you have to take great notes when you're in class. So then after you finish your class, and this law school, what is this, 96? When did I graduate? That's over 20 years ago. Lord have mercy. Yeah, so after class every day, you have to go home, write out what your notes, kind of.
It's your whole life.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty much your whole life.
You gotta review what you just covered in class in order to
write it out,
moving forward to the next day. Because if you wait till the end of the week, it's almost impossible to catch back up.
It is really. And I found myself, because my study habits weren't very good and regimented. I found myself at the end of my first semester being overwhelmed because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I got by.
Yeah.
But it was very, very challenging because you have to condense all your notes, because your professor is deaf one, because you'll get called out. He'll be saying something, or he or she, and call on you, and you have to basically say what that case was about, analyze it. So you had to be on your P's and Q's.
Ain't no faking that.
No, it's no faking.
I think what I also realized, and you could tell me this if this happened to you, is that I think because I struggled really hard my first year, probably mostly undergrad. I struggled. I had a lot of struggles. But then one day it clicked to me that this was a game. And I had to learn the system that I was in to get through undergrad. Do you feel like law school maybe have been a system you had to learn?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. You definitely had to learn a system. And hopefully, if you're lucky, you can get some older class, upperclassmen to give you their outline?
I was just gonna say, 'cause that's what I was thinking. That's the reason why most people join these study groups.
Yeah.
So you don't have to outline everything. You can assign. People will say, okay, well, you do this when you do this, then everybody gets a copy of it.
Yeah.
So that's how they survive. So for you to be able to still survive through that, and you're doing all of your outlines on your own, that's really not something that's typical.
I remember you telling me too at one time. You was like, ask the people that took them before which professors to take and not to take. And honestly, that had never crossed my mind.
It is
and I was like, oh, well, let me start. Is this somebody I should be taking? And that kind of changed the game for me too.
It does.
Which we talking about that system. Nobody told me how to do that. But I do remember you saying that. So I was like, I'm not taking him because they said he does this, and that. I ain't take. I'm gonna go around him and I'm gonna go take this. So and then I started to say, oh, okay, I kind of got this. I kind of maneuvered through this, and I was still able to graduate in 4 years. So
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say, and the reason why I didn't comment early because I didn't really struggle in college, and it was mainly because I went to the military first.
Yeah.
So I left high school, and like you said, winging it through high school, and I was in the top, of the class. But then I went to the military because nobody had money to pay for me to go to college. Okay, and they really didn't have a lot of scholarships at that time. And so I went to the military, and it helped me. I think I would have struggled as well, but it was going to the military, understanding, building up a schedule, doing things at a certain time. Yeah, the discipline I was able to take to college. So when you're talking about going home and reviewing your notes, I used to do that all the time. I went to class. I always tell people, just come to class. Like, that's the first thing.
Yeah, because I didn't even used to go to class.
Yeah, it's like you gotta go to class because you're gonna take it in your ears, right? You hear it. So sometimes you can, recall that information.
Yep.
And then I would go home and I would study my notes at the end, and that's what half the time got me through. And I'm telling you, I probably didn't even read a textbook in college.
Yeah, from the
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But just keeping that schedule. So, but that's remarkable that you were able to kind of do that whole thing on your own through law school, outlining.
I did my own outlines, but I do recall maybe getting some from upperclassmen, but it wasn't too much. Sometimes if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. You can't really rely on other people's handwriting and notes.
Yes,
because it's their brain that's in their perspective.
Right.
So you finished law school. Did you have plans like what do you I'm gonna do after this? Did you ever think you was gonna be a judge? Like, what was the plan after that?
I always wanted to be a judge.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So,
Okay.
So after law school, it was So during the summers of my law school, I clerked at a law firm in Belleville.
Okay.
And so when I left law school, they offered me a position.
Okay,
and so
wonderful.
I started as an associate there.
Okay. And what kind of law were you practicing?
It was civil defense law.
Okay.
So defending insurance companies, car accidents, just pretty much insurance defense.
Okay.
So we represented the insured. So if you're in a car accident and you get sued, we represent Allstate. So and they're insured. So yeah.
Okay. And how long did you do that for?
So I graduated in 96 to 03.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
that's a nice
yeah. So I did that. I became a partner in that law firm, and then
wow. Okay, a partner. That's a short time to become a partner that quickly, right?
Yeah. I mean, let's see, 96.
7 years.
Yeah,
to
7
become
years,
a partner.
So about I became a partner in maybe 01.
If somebody's watching and they don't know what does it mean to become a partner at a law firm?
All right, so when you are initially starting out at a law firm, you're what's called an associate. And so you become a partner, meaning that you are economically invested in the firm.
Gotcha.
And a lot of times you become a partner when you bring in business. So I was trying to bring in business. And so I was the corporate counsel for Washington Park.
Okay.
Yeah, I became
Really.
So now you're getting a percentage of what the whole law office makes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a big thing to become a partner.
That's why I said
Yeah.
it seems like that's a short amount of time.
Yeah. Because sometimes when you watch a TV, people like, I'm trying to make partner. I'm trying to make partner. Like, what does it mean to be a partner?
Yeah, it means shadowing an older attorney, learning how to try cases. But the main thing is getting business.
Business
So
at the end of the day. Bring the money.
Right.
You always wear two hats. Like whatever your hat is, whether you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, real estate agent, you are also a salesperson.
Absolutely.
Because you can't do none of that without no leads and
That's
money.
right.
So, yeah.
So did your degree in undergrad in finance, did that help you in the business aspect?
You know what? I don't know. I'm probably, critical thinking. Not per se, because law school isn't dealing with too many numbers. But I mean, a numerical background is always good.
It's
always good.
So you make partner, but you still got your mind on being a judge. What you say?
I would say.
Okay.
I would say. So I tried to, because I knew that, I'd be young. And so what I did was just try to shadow older attorneys and try cases. So I was, trying cases all over Southern Illinois.
Gotcha.
And winning defense verdicts for the client. So that helped out a lot. And so, because I knew they'd be like, oh, she's not ready. She doesn't have any experience. So,
But she was like, I'm a boss.
Right. Exactly. Right.
Because you talk very formally, but like you really in like a space where you're probably one of the only black women you're seeing in these spaces, or very few. Would you say? Yeah. How are you dealing with that? Like the nuances of that? Because I don't think that's easy. Like you carry the load of the job, but you also carry the load of being like one of the only faces in the space.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it was. You do it. You just do it. You just do it. I mean, I know what it was. I know what it was when I was practicing. But being a judge is a little bit more political. So it was a different type of pressure. And then I knew that those jobs are guarded and are meant for certain people.
Okay, but that never deterred you from trying to go.
No,
right?
No.
Okay.
But I knew that when I got there, there were older attorneys, older white attorneys that have been vying for that position.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, you get challenged by the attorneys, a lot of the older attorneys.
Did it ever mess with you a little bit? Any inner talk saying, maybe that judge seat, maybe it's not going to happen? Maybe.
You mean before it happened?
Before it happened.
No, because it's political. So if you know the right people and you have the resume to back it up, well, you have to have a resume. But it's always good to know the right people that can kind of vouch for you.
You come from a political background, you would say? Politics?
Yeah. I knew some. My mom was in politics, and so the lawyer that was the city of East St. Louis's lawyer worked for the firm that I clerked for.
Okay. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was my end to that firm. Now that firm was it had its primary office in Chicago, but it had offices, in Texas, I know California, Arizona, maybe. Mm-hmm. It was kind of, spread out a little bit. So it was a reputable firm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I clerked at that firm, and so they
that's what I wanted to ask you. I guess the question you said, right, that firm is kind of nationwide. I know I've heard that it's good to become a prosecutor. It's good to become a prosecutor if you want to later join a large firm and so forth. I've heard this. I have a friend who said this as well just recently. He was a defense attorney and then he became a prosecuting attorney to move forward. But what if a young person was going into law, what would you say as far as what type of firm they should join? What will get them on the fast track, I guess?
Get them on the fast track? Now, okay, so it is good. I mean, it's good to be a prosecutor. Okay. I didn't go that route. I would have, but then I had that opportunity with a civil firm. Mm-hmm. But being a prosecutor, you get to meet the judges. And so and you're in that loop, so you're seeing a lot of the lawyers that come through the courthouse, and you're meeting a lot of the judges, so that's a good starting point. But if you can get into a nice firm, you can learn how to try civil cases. No civil procedure. I mean, if being a judge, you handled all of it. Mm-hmm. So you see, it's what your interest is in law school. Do you like criminal law? I really wasn't real good in criminal law. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did okay, but that wasn't my passion. My passion really wasn't civil law. I had to figure it out. I had to figure it out. So when I had the opportunity, being a civil lawyer, that's just where I
will say I find it fascinating that you always wanted to be a judge. And I just remember being like 22, 23. I actually was sitting in the back of your courtroom with a friend. You didn't know I was there. Okay. But I was with a friend. I wasn't there for myself, but I was with a friend, and I remember looking like, wow, she is a Black woman as a judge. Like, that's something I have never even thought was possible for me at all. But you see here, like, I never thought that it wasn't impossible, which goes to show that like vision like really like plays a part, because you never felt like that wasn't up.
No, the only I was a little hesitant because I was so young.
Yes, then like I'm not able, but like I'm just probably too young.
Okay. Now, how old were you?
I was 31.
Oh wow, yeah. I see those pictures of you as a judge, and you look like a little child.
I'm telling you, that's it. I always have that image. I was like, wow. And we're family, but we're kind of distance family. So it's not like I saw you growing up or something like that. But sitting in the car, I was like, man, I could have probably been a judge. Never know. But that's something
good for people to see. And now our listeners will be able to say,
hey, anybody ever thought about being a judge? Because I ain't never thought about that.
And if you thought about it, it can happen.
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
No, it's not impossible. And I mean, if not you, then who? It's gonna be somebody.
It's gotta be somebody that's in that seat. You said somebody you're gonna check a box. I'm gonna be in that box.
And somebody knows somebody.
Yeah.
They got them there. So it wasn't. It wasn't as challenging as you might think.
Yeah. But having that imagery is powerful because now somebody's sitting there like, man, I could probably make my way there. So the politics of it though. So you're doing the law and you're really good. You're winning. What civil law? What's making your pathway to that seat? What are you strategically thinking about? Like, I'm about to get in that seat. When did the politician hat come up?
Well, I was never a politician. I knew politicians.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, I knew politicians who could, talk to people and speak on my behalf. And so, the city of East St. Louis, I needed the politicians because they had a lot to do with me becoming a judge because the chairman wanted someone up there that looked like a lot of the defendants.
Exactly.
Right. So they rallied behind me. One of my partners in my law firm, who was politically connected, he and the city of East St. Louis kind of rallied and got it done.
Awesome. So you take that seat. Take that seat. Was it everything you thought it was going to be?
Right.
Everything I thought it was going to be. Yeah. It was. But I was young still.
31, you said,
I
right?
was 31. So you 31 and you seeing all
that's
your
real.
cousins. They're out here kicking it. Great
that
time.
is. I don't think I could have been no judge. I'm thinking about what I was doing at 31.
In meetings with old men and older people and my crew was old people, right? Yeah. And you had to carry yourself, and you had to keep a low profile and so it kind of cut you off a little bit, because you gotta maintain a certain image, ethically. Yep.
So it threw you into a mature space.
It did.
Back to that maturity thing.
Yeah, back to maturity. Law school was
I think that could be a challenge though, right? Because you're in the space that you grew up in, right? And now they're seeing you as a judge and you're only 31. So what does life look for you in that space?
It took some getting used to because I'm an extrovert. So I had to reel it on in a little bit. I couldn't be as forthcoming as I normally would be. So it kind of tightens you up a little bit. Being so young and doing that. But I got used to it. You have to get used to, older people calling you judge and, kissing butt. I ain't used to that. That feels uncomfortable, right? But that's what it is. So it's a job.
I think it's a job that probably has a part of your identity though, because people see you as a judge before they see you as who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that, what I was thinking about is it's like in a lot of ways you're operating in three spaces, right? Because you're a young woman, first the age, then you're a black woman, right? Then you're a judge, right? And so then that blackness has a lot to do with why you're there on, in the seat that you're in, right? Because they want to see you in that space, right? But then you also are there to enforce the law, right? So then, but how do you enforce the law where it is, I guess, ethically, I don't know how to explain it, where basically you're serving the purpose of why you're there as well, to serve the black population, essentially, right? So you have to, as the judge, you may have to give a sentencing
to somebody that you probably know their family members,
right? And then you also have to look at the fact that, okay, well, they're putting you here basically so you don't throw the book at black people, right? So how do you ride that line, I guess? You already said about the age, how you rode the line or whatever. But how did you ride that line as far as being put there to serve black people, but also being put in a place where you could put black people in jail?
Well, I mean, if you do the crime, you're gonna have to do the time. And if as a judge, you can't say, well, I'm here for black people. I am there for the black people because we come from the same place. I mean, I kind of know I do know, how we think, how we are, our culture. So in that respect, you get the empathy that you may not otherwise get. So that's about as far as it goes, because you have to follow the law. So it's not like I can or any judge can sit up and say, well, I'm gonna give this person a break, or I mean.
See, and that's what I was talking about, because we see that all the time,
though. Like they give them too much too, right? You just gave that man way too much time, and then the person over here, you got half
very
the
little time.
Everybody's supposed to be following the same law, though, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the judge who generally makes that decision, as far as, so it might be, you can have 8 to 15 or something if you commit this crime. So it's the judge that comes in and says it's 8 or 15, or you know what I'm saying? How long is it? But we've seen cases. You're like, what was the case with the Duke student? Where the judge
when he went on what's this one where he raped the girl?
Yes, exactly. So he pretty much gave him probation. So I mean, I guess
and I don't think that judge is no longer a judge.
Well, that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing,
because he ain't do his job right? Exactly.
That's a good thing. And then, but that's something that I always think about too. A lot of times when we go to the ballot, everybody says, "Let your voice be heard. Let your voice be heard." A lot of times it's judges on those ballots. And I have to say, I don't know.
No, none of them, right?
But we need to make it a point of knowing who is that judge, because they affect our community.
They do, and the laws. Even if we just look at the Roe versus Wade, that was come down to the exactly.
I couldn't believe that.
I couldn't either.
Yeah, we didn't get a vote.
Is there like a judge room where they were like, what? Now what the hell is he?
Right. That's the Supreme Court.
Right.
You can do about
them. They're appointed.
Sadly. So those spaces are really important, though. Like having representation.
And when we go, and just locally, a lot of times you go to the ballot box and you be like, oh,
because I don't know them.
But the judges, if you get a speeding ticket, you got to go before a judge. I mean, you go to the divorce, you go before the judge. You're in a car accident, you go before the judge. Criminal. So I mean, judges affect your lives, and they affect black people disproportionate amounts. So we need to be very mindful of who we put in those seats.
Yes.
So.
And in your time, because you were at St. Clair County, right? How many other black women judges were there?
When I was there, when I came, it was me and another judge, and then there was another one that was appointed.
Okay, so
it was 3.
3 out of how many?
Out of how many judges total? In the whole entire circuit, maybe about 20-something, 21, 22.
So we're not even representing our fair share, being represented by our fair share.
So 3 out of 20-something.
And it was
3 or 4. Well, it was 4. It was another black male judge.
Male, okay. So 4 out of 20.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah. So it was Wharton.
Oh yeah, I love Judge
He was
Wharton. He's
there.
great.
He was, and then it was Alexis and me. And then Zena came.
Okay, I know Zena.
So it wasn't more than 4 there
At a time.
Okay.
So you say you got there and it was everything you thought it was, right? You enjoyed the
Right. She kind of laid back.
She's so laid back. She's like, y'all, that's why I say y'all like got so much of the same energy. Like y'all just be doing stuff and be like, hey, you know what it is. Like it is what it is. It is what it is, you know. And then me on the other be like, that was so amazing. Oh my God, that is so great.
It was good. I did a lot. I had a good time being a judge.
And what kind of court did you proceed over? What kind of cases?
I started off in traffic. Then I went to family law, domestic violence, probate. I handled some criminal, not too much criminal law, and some civil. Yeah.
So as a judge, were there any cases that weighed on you? Some cases that you took home? I know you can tell us everything, but okay. All right.
I did.
So you were very great in compartmentalizing. That's gonna be very.
It's gonna be very important
in those spaces.
Yeah.
So how long did you stay in that space?
12 and a half years.
12 and a half years.
Okay.
Okay. And now what are you doing?
I have my own practice. I started my own practice. So I handle a myriad of cases, a little bit of criminal, but mostly civil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And going from that, because you did that career 12 years, and you're like, now I'm going to have my own law firm. Again, was that something that was already thought about, or is it kind of something that you're like, I'm reinventing myself now?
I'm reinventing myself now.
How you get there? Like, because you could retire, right? If you want to.
Well, no.
No? Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
I got a few more years before I can, retire and, because I'm vested as a judge.
Okay.
So I have to be, I think I have to check. I have to be 55 or 56 before I can retire.
Okay.
So between now and then, I need to practice.
You already, that vision is already years out. You're like,
I'm ready to retire.
Let me ask you something on the way there, because now we talk about you being so young as a judge, right? 31, because everybody sees that as young, and then you serve as a judge for 12 years. Now you're coming out 43, right? That's a different world view, right? But so how was that when you ultimately?
So after I left the bench, I was the supervisory regional counsel for the Department of Children and Family Services.
Okay.
So I did that for a couple years. Maybe about 2.5. Yeah, maybe about 2.5, 3 years. And then I was like, I just want to just, chart my own course. So I just hung up a shingle. And
let me ask you this though. I know that you ran, so even though you don't consider yourself as a politician, you did have to run for your judge.
when I was a judge, I was appointed.
Okay.
So the 12 and a half years was an appointed position.
Okay, wonderful. Okay.
And so as a circuit judge, you have to run.
Okay.
So it's 2 tiers of judges in Illinois. You have your associate circuit judges, and which are appointed by the circuit judges.
Okay.
And the circuit judges are elected by the people.
Okay.
So it's sort of like a promotion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so you went.
I left to run.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I wasn't successful. And then that's when I went to DCFS, for a minute. And then opened up my own practice.
Okay. All right. And how did that feel? And the reason why I asked that is because when you're a judge, it's a lot of power, right? You're the person that's on that bench. How did that feel to then going to court again, and then now it's a judge? That's what I'm saying.
That's the story I'm trying to get to. Yeah. Right. It was hard, especially somebody that has excelled since she was 31.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
It was difficult.
Yeah.
I just, and then you're going, before the same colleagues that you were, just with.
Right.
So it was. I had to get in another headspace for that. So that was a bit of a challenge. But once you realize that you got to do what you got to do, and you're a lawyer anyway.
Right. Nobody can take that from you. Right.
So you just keep it moving.
That sounds like kind of the course of your life. You hit with something, and you just like. It is what it is.
It is what it
I gotta
is.
keep going. I can't sit here. I can't cry over spilled milk. Let me go to the next challenge.
Yeah.
And then
you gotta keep it
moving. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah.
And what was your position with Children's Division? You were director?
Supervisory Regional Counsel.
Okay. And then what does that entail?
I had hearings for the department in child abuse and neglect cases. So I just it was basically administrative law hearings.
That's kind of heavy though.
It was heavy.
Because she used to work in the same space.
Yeah, I used to work in child abuse and neglect when I first came out of college.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, and I couldn't see myself just
doing that. Yeah. Even a thought like I can't.
Yeah, I can't. Because you just be like, you.
I could be outside your house. I would carry that too. That's too heavy.
I did.
That's too heavy.
Yeah. So I had to get out of that.
Yeah. I don't think that's something will be easy to do. Compartmentalize like that's not gonna happen.
Not with kids.
So, what do you see the future for your firm?
I get calls for cases all the time. I don't take a lot of them. So to be honest with you, I'm tired.
You're tired?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I don't see myself,
Because you're kind of back to your roots in a bit. Because when you make partner, you knew how to go out and get business. Yeah. So you being that entrepreneur just flared right back up. So.
Yeah. But I'm just waiting for about how old am I? Maybe about 3-4 years. Yeah. So I can just say, hey, I'm just going to get my pension and ride off in the sunset.
Listen.
I understand.
Because I want my house on the beach.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that kind of speaks to like black women though. We are always on this road of like excellence, hitting these goals since you're 18, like, and doing all this. And it's like, hey, for me, the next chapter look like peace. Like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. Hey, I'm still a boss because I've done what I needed to do. Right. I'm going, mentor a few of you that need to come around, but right now I'm just going to focus on me and just be at peace. Like, because I'm sure you saw a lot. And
I did.
Yep.
And I ain't got to,
You don't have anything to prove either.
And she doesn't talk about it, but she is, she passed the bar in both Illinois and Missouri. And that, that sometimes, like we recently were dealing with a lawyer, and it was going across the state line, and she did not.
She didn't do it.
No, she was not a part of the bar in Illinois. And so to pass the bar in 2 different states, it's a lot of work.
I have a friend, a very close friend of mine that did Illinois, and then she did New York, and then she did New Jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are difficult.
Yeah, and I'm like, I just like, girl, go ahead, girl, do your thing. Because I remember I used to have a dream like, oh, maybe I could be a lawyer. Probably not. All that. I took a political science class one day, and this was when I was just searching stuff, and he was like, 70% of people failed my class, and then you was talking about that, like they wanted you to go home and write briefs and stuff. I remember I told you I was partying undergrad. I was like, drop that class, please, and replace it. This ain't it. This is not
70%.
it.
I mean, because that should not even be something.
That was on the first day. He was like, 70% of people failed my class.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Right.
Like, I'm not about to come here and fail. You're trying to flunk me, like, and I'm not going to be here for that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove myself from this. So, yeah. So if our listeners are sitting there, I know a judge has always been your vision, but maybe they are looking to go to law school, or maybe they've been in law school and they're trying to figure out their path. What would be some advice you would give them?
Ask them, what is it that they have a passion for?
Okay.
Do you have a passion for public service? Do you have a passion for, civil practice? But I would say that, a good starting point, if you don't have a big law firm connection, or if, you're not interested in private practice, I would say a good starting point is maybe the state's attorney's office.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Get some of that experience under your belt. Then you can get in the courtroom a little quicker. You get to know the judges, and so you're in that, political arena. Yeah. So I would say doing something like that. Otherwise, getting a nice cushy law firm job is good for experience in writing briefs and drafting motions. So it depends on what you have a passion for. Some people like criminal law. I wasn't a real fan of criminal law. So if you like criminal law, the state's attorney's office is for you. If you like civil law, car accident, civil procedure, contracts, then maybe try to get in with a law firm so you can learn the civil aspect of law in a practice, civil practice.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that's really about law. It's just so many different things. It's almost like the law school is just a general prep in some ways, and then you have to go into these different spaces to actually learn more about whatever that space is that you want to go into. Yeah.
Well, I am excited for your future and the things that you're going to do for the next couple of years. I'm more excited for you going on that journey of rest. Yeah, because I think we don't highlight that enough. Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, you be like, you started college at 18.
I mean, and you know what? Many people are working hard before college.
I've been working since I was 15.
Yeah. I've been working since grade school. No, but I mean, what I mean by that is like, to get into the honors. I was honors track in middle school. Then you have to keep it up to be honors track in high school. You know what I'm saying? So you just constantly, it's a constant grind. Yeah. In America, but we are still doing it, and we're making it and going up against all of the odds, and we are becoming Black boss ladies.
That's
right.
Yes.
So.
That's right.
Yeah, and we appreciate you stopping by the BBL platform
no
and sharing
This
your
is really
story.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say, Judge Cason, you are a Black boss lady.
Oh, thank you.
And your legacy will live on the Black Boss Lady platform.
Oh,
All
right.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the BBL Platform Podcast, the place where legacies live. We hope you will join us on our next inspirational journey to success. Be sure to rate, like, and subscribe to our show. For more information, please visit our website at theBBLplatform.com.